So these are the different types of hash functions we have. The first method is division method, which we make use of this modular division. Modular division is not division, right? This is not true. Modular division. So it is the easiest method to create a hash function, and the first order of business for a hash function is to compute an integer value if it is a string or an alphabet, right? And if we expect hash function to produce a valid index for our chosen table size, the integer will probably be out of range. The example we have taken, right, 13 and 23, these are out of range of 0 and 9. Therefore, what you have to do, you have to make use of this modding. Modding is nothing but modular division or remainder division. So h of k is equal to k mod n, where n is the size of array and k is equal to key. And one more important point you have to remember here is, it is better if the table size is a prime number. It has a lot of advantages of being taking the table size as a prime number, or at least it should not have any prime factors, right? So we may be asked a question like this: what can be the best table size for hashing concept? In such case, out of all those options, you go by the elimination method, and you find, if you find any prime number in the given options, that will be the correct answer, right? So the best method to take the table size, or the best alternative for table size, is you select the table size as a prime number, right? For example, here he is giving one example. The key is 1501 and the size of the table is 10, and he wants to find this h of 1501. Therefore 1501 mod 10, which is equal to 1. Therefore this is the index, right? And the disadvantage of this division method is consecutive keys map to the consecutive hash values, which leads to poor performance, which is nothing but clustering, right? For example, 1501, we have an index of 1, right? If it is 1502 mod 10, it is 2, and consecutive number 1503 mod 10 is equal to 3. Similarly, 1504 mod 10 is equal to 4. So whenever we have a consecutive values of keys 1501, 1502, 1503 and 1504, we have the hash values or index values as 1, 2, 3 and 4, which are contiguous in nature, right? So it forms a clustering. But the property of a good hash function says that you should have a uniform distribution. That means the keys are uniformly distributed, not that all the keys will be coagulated at some location, which is called as the clustering thing, right? The next one is folding. The next hash function which we can make use of is folding. Folding means you have to fold it. You have to fold the integers, or you have to fold the values that are present inside, right? So it begins by dividing the item into equal size pieces. So whatever value you have to divide it into equal pieces. The last piece may not be of equal size, but it's not an issue. Let's leave it, right? These pieces are then added together to give the resulting hash value. Very simple thing, right? For example, we have this two concepts called as shift folding and boundary folding. In this concept, what we will do is, we have an example of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let us divide this into parts which consists of 3 integers in each thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 7, 8, 9. You add these things, right? 123 plus 456 plus 789. It's nothing but 99. One three six eight will be your index. That is nothing but hash value. but you may not have this 1368 index in an array. To have this 1368, then the size of the array should be something around 1360 to 2000. That means the size of the array should be 2000, which is very costlier, right? For example, if you have taken the size as 100, array size as 100, what you have to do? You have to divide this 1368 modulo division 100. You will get 68. So the index 68 is within the range of 0 to 99, which is valid, right? So this is what this is all about the shift folding. And coming to the next point, which is called as boundary folding. Boundary folding means you keep the boundaries same. The boundaries will be remain same, but you shuffle these things, or you reverse the order of this middle part. That means we have three parts, that is 123, 456, which is reverse, that is 654, and then we have 789, right? So 1566 will be the index. Again, if this index or the hash value is not within the range, again you go for the modulo division operator with the array size. So this is the concept of folding, which we have discussed, the shift folding, where you divide the given integer into equal parts and then you add them to get the index value. And the last one is boundary folding, where you keep the boundaries as it is and whatever elements that are present in between the boundaries. It may be two parts or three parts. You shuffle all those things. It's not shuffling. You reverse the elements in the in between elements or in between parts, and then you have to add to get the hash value. Now coming to mid square, the name itself says that square. You go from right hand side. You have to square the given number. You have to square the given number, and then you take the middle value, right? Square the key and then use the middle part as the hash, which result is nothing but hash. So if you are given a key of 3121, so you square it, right? 3121 into 3121, which is nothing but 9740641, and you have to take the middle part. The middle part is nothing but 406, therefore 406. And this is a valid index if the table size is 1000. Why? Because if the table size is 1000, the index always will be from 0 to 999. Therefore 406 is a valid value inside this range. What happens if you have a string? This is a direct integer, therefore you are squaring it. What happens if you have a string? For example, A, B, C we have. What you will do is, 1 minute. If you have a string ABC, you have to take the ASCII values and you add it. What is the ASCII value of A? It is 97, 98 and 99. That is 300 minus 336, 194, 294, right? So 294 is the ASCII values of the addition of ASCII values of these corresponding string, and you take the 294 into 294, you will get some value and you take the middle thing, right? Same thing, mid square. And the last one is extraction. Use only a part of the key to compute the result. Therefore, if you are given a key, you never make use of the entire key. You never use it in producing, you never use the entire key in producing the index value. So what you will do is, you have to make use of only a part of the key. You have to make use of only a part of the key to compute the result, which is nothing but hash, right? For example, if you take the ISBN, which is nothing but a number that is given for the publisher, book publisher. So they should be excluded in the hash table if it is from a only one publisher. So one publisher will have the unique ISBN number, and if you want to include or if you want to find the hash function, you just exclude that ISBN number. Why? Because it is common for the publisher, right? So you remove it and you make use of the remaining part of the key, which we call it as the extraction part. And radix transformation, this is another function which we can make use of it. Radix transformation is, we know the radix is nothing but the base, right? For example, decimal numbers. Decimal means it has a radix of 10. Octal, it has a radix of 8. Hexadecimal, it has a radix of 16. Binary, it has a radix of 2. Like that, whatever number you are given, you have to convert the index, or you have to convert the base of it. You have to convert the radix. Change the base of the representation of the numeric key and mod by table size. That's the simple concept. For example, key is 345. This is in base 10. You have to change the radix. That means you have to change the base. Any base you can take. You can take the base 2, base 8, base 16, or base 9. Okay, so here in this example he has converted into base 9. Therefore 345 base 10 is equal to 423 base 9. You can use the formula and you can calculate this. You can convert this decimal number into the base 9, which you will get it as 423, right? 423 modulo division T size will be equal to the hash, right? So you transform the radix and then you apply the modulo division on this T size. Then you will get the thing, right? And after this, I request all the students to bear for 15 more minutes so that we can complete this hashing function. And from tomorrow onwards, we will go with the phase 2, which is nothing but the practice question. We have a lot of questions to practice. You will get lot of practice and you'll find very confident while answering the gate questions. So tomorrow we'll start very new concept of phase 2. We'll solve different practice questions and you will give some different tips also, right? So please bear for 20 more minutes so that I can complete this concept. And after different hash functions that we have discussed, which we have discussed is division method, where you will use a division or modular division operator to find the index. And the second method which we have discussed is the folding method, where you will divide the given integer into equal parts and you add those parts, subparts, you will get one number. That number can be taken as the index. In that we have discussed the boundary folding and shift folding. Shift folding means the equal parts are divided. There is no need to change the parts. But in boundary folding, the boundaries remains the same, but the internal parts or sub parts of the number should be reversed to get a different index number. And the third one which we have discussed is hash function is mid square. So you have to square the given integer and then you have to take the middle value, which can be treated as the index value. If it is a string, you take the ASCII values, you add those ASCII values and you will be given you will get one number as a result. You square it and then you take the middle, which is equal to which is the index of the given number. Similarly, the last one which we have discussed is radix transformation, where you have to transfer the base of the given number to any of the base, which is very convenient, and then you have to take the modular division of the table size, right? And the need for good hash function here, why we need the hash function, why we need to have good hash function is discussed. For example, we have a list of elements of strings like this. There are 4 different strings and I want to store it in the hash table and I want to define one hash function. So this is ABCDEF, BCDEFA. I told that whenever you are given a string, you have to convert that string into a number. Integer is mandatory. You have to convert the string into a number using ASCII values. So if you convert these strings into ASCII values, everything will go with 599 only, right? Why? Because it is 97 or it is 67, I think, right? 64, something like. So the ASCII values, if you add the ASCII values of A, B, C, D, E, F, small letters is 97, right? So 97 plus 98 plus 99 and so on, 100 plus 101 plus 102. So it will be given as 599. Similarly, if you go for this B, C, D, E, F, A, the ASCII values remain same. Therefore, it will be also evaluated to 599. This is also 599. This is also 599. This is also 599. Right. So if you take the index of the specific string will be equal to the sum of ASCII values of the characters modulo 599. Right. The hash function will compute the same index for all these strings. Therefore, there is a collision for each and every string. First, you will store it in some locations, for example, some X location. If you come across this also, it will also find the index value as X. Similarly, C, D, E, F, A, B, it will be also pointed out to X only. And D, E, F, A, B, C, it is also pointed to X only. So, all these things will result in collision. So if you take the hash function, the first hash function is you simply add the ASCII values, and the second hash function which I am doing is listen. The index for a specific string will be equal to sum of the ASCII values of characters. This is very important, and what I am doing is I am multiplying each and every ASCII value with the corresponding position in the string. Corresponding position in the string, and then you modulo division. The result will be modulo divided with 2069, which is a prime number, right? For example, if you take this thing A, B, C, D, E, F, we know that the ASCII value of A is 97, B is 98, and the ASCII value of C is 99, D is 100, E is 101, and F is 102, right? We know all these things. Now what I am doing is, in addition to these ASCII values, I am embedding the position of this particular element beside this. Therefore, A is at the position 1, right? B is at position 2, C is at 3, D is at 4, 5, 6. So what I will do is, after this ASCII value, I add the position. So it becomes 971. Similarly, for B, after the ASCII value, the second position is added, 982. For C, 99, ASCII value, after this ASCII value, I add the position as 3. Similarly, for 100, which is nothing but D, I add the position as 4. 101 for E, I add the position as 5. Similarly, 102 for F, I add the position as 6. You add all these things, 971 plus 982 plus 993 and so on, up to 1026. You add it and you modulo divide it with 2069, where the index you will get as 38. For example, if you go for this one, second example, B, we have the ASCII value as 98, but its position is 1. Right, it is 981. Similarly, for C, it is 99, position is 2. So, by looking at this and by modulo dividing it with 2069, you will get the hash value as 23. And for the third string, you got it as 14. For the fourth string, D, E, F, A, B, C, you got the index value as 11. Right. So, if you make some modifications in H1, what you are doing, you are just adding the ASCII value. So every string will be having the same index. So in the second hash function H2, what you did is, for the ASCII values, you add the position. You add the position, or you add the position number. That's different. That makes the difference, where all the strings will be indexed to different values. So you are avoiding the collisions here, right?